Okay, so let's check out the first one here at least and see how you did. Probably going to need some more space, so I'm going to move this one down just a little bit, get it out of my way. Okay, so to start off with this first one, of course, we have the parentheses. And there's nothing to do inside them, so we're going to be looking at doing something to them, and each of them is being multiplied. So we've got 6 times the 5x minus 1. Well, 6 times 5x is 30x, and 6 times negative 1, negative 6. Now this parentheses is not multiplied by 2, it's multiplied by negative 2. Good. Negative 2 times 6x, negative 12x. Negative 2 times 8, negative 16. Any more I can combine there before I move over to the other side? Sure, what is it? Okay, 30x and negative 12x make 18x. And then? Perfect. Negative 6 and negative 16 make negative 22. So now on the other side, again, parentheses, I'm going to multiply by 5 here. 5 times 4x, 20x, and 5 times 14, positive 70. This is a positive 4 times x, 4x, and 4 times a negative 3, negative 12. And then we just got the plus 4 there. Anything we can do yet on that side? Yeah. 20x and 4x make 24x. And we also have 70, negative 12, and 4 make positive 62. Good. Then what? Subtract 18x from each side. So we got negative 22 equals 6x plus 62. And then subtract 62. Negative 84 equals 6x. And then divide by 6. Negative 14 equals x. So x equals negative 14. How many of you got negative 14 for that one? Cool. That's a good start. This one. This is one that we had talked about, how you have to do the common denominator. Oops. Try that again. So move this down a little bit, make it look cleaner for us. I guess we'll come back for the 25. There. So we have denominators of 2x, 8, and 4x. Now for the numbers 2, 8, and 4, what's the common denominator going to be for those numbers? 8. For the variable, the largest power is just the x to the 1, or just x. So 8x is my least common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this whole equation by 8x. So this will be 8x times 5, which is 40x. And then here, this is going to be 8x over 1 times 7 over 2x. That's 56x over 2x. 56 divided by 2 is 28. X divided by x divides out. We got the 8x times the negative 7/8. So 8x over 1 times negative 7 over 8. 8x times negative 7 is negative 56x. 1 times 8 is 8. Negative 56 divided by 8 is a negative 7. And then we still have the x. Any questions so far? Okay. That's going to equal 8x times the 25 over 4x. So 8x over 1 times 25 over 4x. 8x times 25 is 200x. 1 times 4x is 4x. 200 divided by 4 is 50. X divided by x divides out. So now we're going to combine Stop. Any questions so far? How many of you made it to this point? Good. A few of you did. Okay, that's promising. So we're going to combine the 40x and the negative 7x, make 33x. Still have the plus 28 equals 50. Then what? From this point, it should be almost a reflex of that. Subtract 28. 33x equals 22. And then divide by 33. X equals, if you divided 22 by 33, you'd get 0.666666. So it's best to leave it as 22 over 33 and reduce. Both of those can be reduced by 11. Give you 2/3. X equals 2/3. How many of you had 2/3 for that one? Nobody. Okay. So maybe we'll try another one of those. That might be my cue. We need a little more work on that one. Huh? Okay, give that one a shot. See how it goes. So what's our common denominator for this one? X, 6x, and 3x. It's going to be 6 and x. So 6x. So we do 6x times 7 over x. So 6x over 1 times 7 over x. 6x times 7 is 42x. 1 times x is just x. So 42x divided by x is just going to be 42. Then 6x times negative 3, well, that's just going to be negative 18x. 6x times 1 over 6x, well, 6x over 1 times 1 over 6x is 6x over 6x, otherwise known as 1. Equals, and then over here we have 6x times 7 over 3x. So 6x over 1 times 7 over 3x. 6x times 7 is 42x. 1 times 3x is 3x. 42 divided by 3 is 14. X divided by x cancels out. So this gives us 42 plus 1 is 43 minus 18x equals 14. And then subtract 43. Negative 18x equals a negative 29. And then divide by negative 18. X equals 1 and 11/18. Sorry about that. What do you think? How many got this one right? 1 and 11/18. There's at least a couple hands. Cool. What if I give you something like this? Try something like that. See if you can remember how to do that. Step 1 would be what? Okay, the parentheses. We're going to multiply by the 2. 2 times x squared is 2x squared, and then 2 times negative 3x is a negative 6x, and then 2 times 7 is a positive 14. Anything else to do over there? No. So we go to the other side. Is there anything to do over there? Obviously not, since I've already rewrote the problem, right? So now what? We're going to cancel out the 2x squared. I'm going to subtract 2x squared from this side to get rid of it. I have to subtract 2x squared from this side, and it's also gone. So the x squareds are gone, which is good, because we really couldn't do anything with them there. So now we have negative 6x plus 14 equals 2x minus 10. What's next? Add the 6x. So if you get rid of one of the x's, negative 6x is the smaller one, so we're going to add 6x. So 14 equals 2x plus 6x is 8x minus 10. Then what? Add 10. So 24 equals 8x, and then divide by 8. So 3 equals x. How many of you had 3 equals x? Good deal. We're up in the averages a little bit. I'm going to throw this one out there just to see what happens. Give that one a shot. See what you come up with. Okay, so the trick here, the first one, of course, we got to distribute the 3. 3 times 5x is 15x. Then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. It's this second set of parentheses on the left side that could be the problem. What do we have to remember to do there? Distribute the negative. We make that a negative 1, and we're going to distribute that through multiplying the parentheses by negative 1. So negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times 2 is a negative 2. Now we can still combine 15 and negative 3, 12x. Negative 3 and negative 5, or negative 3 and negative 2 make negative 5. On the other side, we just have the 5 to multiply the parentheses by. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times negative 1 is a negative 5. And we have the plus 6. So we've got 10x. Negative 5 plus 6 is positive 1. Then what? Subtract 10x. 2x minus 5 equals 1. And then add 5. Very good. 2x equals 6, and then divide by the 2. X equals 3. And of course, just like always, we could go back and put that 3 in here for x at every spot and double check to make sure we get the same value on each side of the equal sign, but I'm going to leave that up to you guys to try. It's time for us to start taking a look at a little bit of new material. So we're going to keep solving equations tonight. That's going to be our theme. But we're going to add in some more of our geometric applications again. Going back to stuff like this. Let's do a word problem. Let's say a garage is 24 by 40 feet. Frank plans to increase the width which is the 24-foot dimension, to increase the perimeter to 152 feet. Find the new width. Well, whenever we deal with problems like this, I like to draw pictures. So I'm going to draw a picture. So we have this garage. Right now it's 24 feet here. That's 40 feet long. And Frank wants to increase the width. Now it doesn't matter which side we go off of. I'm going to go off this side here by a certain distance. I'm going to call that distance X. Of course, this is still 40 over here. Well, the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, correct? Hopefully that looks familiar. And we want the perimeter to be 152 feet. 2 times the length. Well, the length is still 40, so that's 2 times 40 plus 2 times the width. What's our new width? 24 plus X, or X plus 24? Now we're going to solve for X. So the 152 isn't going to change. Over here we can simplify. We're going to have to do the parentheses first. Nothing to do in the parentheses. We're going to do 2 times the parentheses. 2 times X is positive 2X. 2 times 24 is positive 48. Now I had to put the plus here because this is going to go up front. 2 times 40 is 80. Now what? Well, we can combine the 80 and the 48 to make 128 plus 2X. And then subtract 128, which gives us 24 equals 2X. And then divide by 2. 12 equals X. So we're all done, right? Say no. X is 12, but we weren't asked for how much he's going to increase the width. We were asked for what is the new width. So 12 plus 24 is going to be 36. The new width is 36 feet. So you always got to make sure, once you solve the equation, make sure you go back and be positive that that is the answer to the question. A lot of times, like this one, there are little things you have to do. Let me do a little bit easier one for you. Seven times a number increased by 8 is 50. Find the number. So basically, it's this top line here is defining our equation. We're going to start out 7 times a number, which is 7x, 7n, 7y, whatever letter you want to use for the variable. Increased by 8 plus 8 is 50 equals 50. Solving from there, what do we have to do? Subtract 8. So 7x equals 42 divided by 7. So x equals 6. The number is 6. Any questions on that one? A little bit simpler than the other word problem, huh? Well, let's have you try one. This will seem to go well. 5 times a number decreased by 2 is 38. Find the number. I'll give you a minute in your notes to try that. So this one, what's the equation going to be? Perfect. First of all, how many you got in the equation? Good deal. That's the start. If you can't get that, you're kind of dead in the water. So then what do we do? Add 2. So 5x equals 40. And then divide by 5. X equals 8. How many got x equals 8? Good deal. Those problems do get a little more complex than that. The sum of two consecutive, what's consecutive mean? One after the other, good. Two consecutive integers. Integers, this means it's no decimal or fraction. So the sum of two consecutive integers is 59. Find the two integers. So here I've got two integers. I've got the smaller one and the larger one. To define a variable, I'm just going to pick one of them to be x. Usually it's easier to pick the smaller one to be the variable. So I'm going to call the smaller one x. What's the larger one going to be? Well, how much bigger is it? 1. X plus 1. So the sum, which means just adding them together, so x plus 1 is 59. So I'm going to combine x and x, make 2x plus 1 equals 59. And from there, we're going to subtract 1. 2x equals 58. And then divide by 2, x equals 29. All done? No. Yeah, this is 29. But then we have to have the 29 plus 1, which is 30. The integers are 29 and 30. Good. Any questions on that? So I want you to tell me how this one's going to be different. The sum of two consecutive odd integers is 44. Find the integers. The difference is it says the word odd. Consecutive does not have to mean, 22, 23, or 17, 18. That means the two numbers that one after the other that meet that condition. So here they have to be odd. So like a 1 and a 3, or a 7 and 9, or 11 and 13, or so on. So we've got a smaller one still, and a larger one. I'll let the smaller one be x. The larger one will be x plus 2. Very good. For dealing with odd numbers, the next one up is always going to be 2 more. So we've got x plus 2 equals 44. And again, we're going to combine 2x plus 2 equals 44. And then subtract 2. 2x equals 42. And divide by 2, x equals 21. So as always, you got to come back and answer the question. X is 21. That's the smaller one. 21 plus 2 is 23 is the larger one. So 21 and 23 are the two integers. So let's look at this one. Betty makes $2 per hour more than Joe. In a week where Joe worked 30 hours and Betty 35 hours, Betty earned, we're talking gross pay, so no taxes or anything taken out, $110 more than Joe. Find each hourly wage. I'm going to give you guys a second. See if you can figure this out. See if you can set it up. I am going to tell you this. You are going to be looking at our two variables are going to be Betty's wage and Joe's wage. But then you're also going to have combined into that somehow their hours. So let's just think about that for a second. See what you come up with, and we'll talk about it. First of all, how would you define their wage? Who makes less? Joe. So I'd make him X, and Betty would become X plus 2. Hours, we know Betty worked 35 and Joe 30. What total are we given? We're not given a total, we're given a difference of 110, right? So that means we're going to subtract two things to get 110. What are we going to subtract? Their gross pay. Betty's gross pay is her hours times her wage. So 35 hours times X plus 2. Joe's gross pay is his hours times his wage. So 30 times X. So the difference between those, and of course we know that Betty earned more, so it's going to be Betty 35 times X plus 2 minus Joe, so minus 30X equals 110. From there, it's a process we've done a few times before. 35 times X is 35X. 35 times 2 is a positive 70 minus 30X. We're going to combine 35X and negative 30 to get 5X. Still have the positive 70 equals 110. And then subtract 70. 5X equals 40. And then divide by 5. X equals 8. All done? No. What do we got to do? 8 is Joe's wage. X is 8. That's Joe's wage. Betty is 8 plus 2, or 10. Assuming dollars per hour, of course. So Pat sells sweatshirts for $6 more than t-shirts. If 30 sweatshirts sold, with 30 sweatshirts and 70 t-shirts sold for a total of $980. how many of each sold? I'm going to give you a second to work on this one as well. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a minute to work on it, then we're going to go to break. Actually, no, I'll give you a couple minutes to work on it, we'll discuss it, then we'll go to break after we discuss it. Very, very good point. Maybe I should ask how much was each?
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Very good point. How much did each sell for? There. Sorry about that.
I was not
That may...
there looking at that.
Okay, so we got t-shirts and sweatshirts. Will let t-shirts be X, the cost, or the price? Excuse me. For t-shirts is X, sweatshirts is X plus 6. They cost $6 more. Number sold, we gave you, I tried to ask for it again, but that was kind of unnecessary, 30 sweatshirts and 70 t-shirts. So what we're looking for is the money from each, the dollar amount. So for t-shirts, it's just the number sold times the price, so 70x. Sweatshirts, number sold times the price, so it's 30 times x plus 6. So 70x plus 30 times x plus 6 equals 980. So 70x plus, this is going to be 30x, plus 30 times 6 is 180, equals 980. $70 and 30x make 100x, plus 180 equals 980. And we'll subtract 180. 100x equals 800. And then divide by 100. X equals 8. And of course, that's not the end. X is 8. That's the cost of the t-shirts. 8 plus 6 is 14. That's the cost of the sweatshirts. And it is our break time. It is 4:25. Let's come back at 4:35.